are generally two ways. There are, of course, more, but two main ways to become your true self, to become this holistic self. One version is when you use your energetic self, when you are basically going down, down, down in your nervous system. And that requires to give up the control, because when we are adults, when we get to this stage that, okay, this is who I am, it came at a cost. It came at the cost of repressing certain parts that you didn't like, or maybe your outside world didn't like in you. So you repress these parts. And in order to become this holistic self, you have to be able to re-examine them. And re-examining means that basically you allow your adult self to lose itself, that you drop into these breaking points, because there is always a breaking point. Okay, this is who I am and this is who I am not, and this is where the repressed part is. And you can imagine your holistic self as like a huge tree, basically, and you are at the top of one of the branches, and you are going down, down, down to the very, very root of your core being, and you become whole when you basically become this whole tree. But you are at the top of one of the branches, and this is how you are going down to see always a bigger and bigger and bigger version of yourself. And anytime when you do that, when you get connected to this energetic self, two things will happen. The very first one is that you feel, because this is the energetic self, so this is connected to emotions, energies, feelings, that you feel more alive than ever before. You feel like you've been brought back from the dead. You have this feeling because that repressed part becomes energetically active as well again. So there is more energy in your body. And there will be this contradiction within you, that you feel more like yourself. This is the feeling, the energetic feeling, because you have this additional energy. But at the same time, your mind is going to give the contradiction, because these are the parts that you repressed. And now they come to life, that you feel like you are not yourself. So this is this duality that's in you. I feel like I am myself finally, but at the same time, I feel like I have lost myself. And this is when you get into this internal battle. And the core here is not to choose between the two, that which one is me. Both of them are you. The goal is to integrate these parts, because wholeness means all probabilities must exist. So it's not about becoming good or pure or whatever. It's about becoming yourself. And then there is another way, and I believe this is the most common in this type of reality that we are in, because we are more head-based. This was a more energetic-based, heart-based or body-based, but the other one is more head-based. And this is when people pick certain aspects from themselves that they do not like, or maybe they find something outside of themselves that they really, really like, and they say, yeah, this is who I want to be. So they repress themselves to become that other version of themselves, to become a newer version of themselves, to become someone different. They hate who you are now, or maybe they are just disappointed, or they just find a different way of living. So this is a conscious decision. But this conscious decision is just an additional part to what they have been doing from a young age, and it's within in the energetic self, because in the energetic self you did always the same thing, that okay, this is what I want, this is what I do not want. So this is just a continuation of that, but now you do it as an adult with a different type of consciousness, that okay, I don't like this and this and this and this and this, so I stop doing that, and this is the new me, this is the new version of me, this is who I am not anymore, I'm not this person anymore. And this is where they create a split, another split, they create a new branch on the tree. And in reality, it's again, it can be helpful when you repress these parts that are unhealthy, or you believe they are unhealthy, because in reality that's the only way to experience a new version of yourself, because it's again wholeness. You have this version and now you have a new version. So if you did something and now you do the opposite, then now you have the two options. But the problem is when people get stuck at this stage, that okay, this is the repressed part, so basically they create a new shadow part, and this is my new version, I don't like this version. They also have to, first of all, mentally, because that's always, because these are more mental people, I mean that they think a lot, they have to be able to compare these two, and they have to also understand that this version they repressed, it's actually just a summary of a lot of decisions they made as children when they were unaware. So it has a lot of parts that maybe you made this decision as a 2-year-old, and then that's what they see. So it doesn't matter basically how perfect you are here in your own eyes. If you're unable to connect to these repressed parts, then you will be disconnected, because now here you have this duality as well, and the core here is to be able to connect both, not to choose, not to pick, it's to connect both, because wholeness means that you have both parts. And in order to do that, again, you have to allow the control away from yourself. You have to be compassionate with those parts, to understand them. And this is how I would like to finish this video, that many people say that they have to surrender to this greater being that is outside of them. But in reality, you are that greater being, but in a child state. The very thing you have to really surrender to, it's yourself. It's these repressed parts, to examine them, to be the parent you never had before, who allows to be heard, who is ready to help these repressed parts to grow up and really show how they would look like when they are at a mature stage. Because now as an adult, when you are judging basically these bad parts, they are at a childlike stage. It's like telling a 3-year-old that you are stupid when you are 60. Of course, a 3-year-old is not going to be as smart as a 60-year-old, but in reality, if the 60-year-old would be so smart, would understand the 3-year-old. That is true awareness, that it doesn't matter what stage the other person is at, you are able to truly understand them. And of course, in the beginning, it's not going to happen. So the only thing you can have to have a conscious intention to listen and try to understand and accept. See you in my next video.